We have reached the month of June here in our draft-only franchise on MLB the Show 23, which means it's time to preview the draft. But before we do that, we have got ourselves a game to play. And I picked this particular game because we recently made a roster change, demoting John May and promoting starting pitcher Esteban Acevedo, a recent second-round pick of ours who has been playing at the AA level the first year and change of his professional career, but he gets a chance to come and play with us, has played one game, so this isn't his first game with the team, but the first game wasn't really a good game for us to play, so we get his second start here against the Norfolk Tide, and he gets this first at-bat finished with a ground out over onto third. So a pretty decent start here. Now on a full count pitch to Adam Frazier. We've got a grab and a spinning throw from Blake Boyer to get that second out. 2 for 2 now. Steven Ruiz gonna hit this one fairly deep to right, but Ray Beasley tracks it down without too much trouble. So a 1-2-3 inning to start the day and really the series career for Esteban Acevedo. I'm really excited about him. Has 94 velocity, 87 break. Needs some, per 9 stats to get up there, particularly home runs per 9, as Carl McIntyre will smack this one into right to start the day for us. Had a rough 0-2 start to that at bat, but he will get us the leadoff single. Alden Evans out here. His average continues to decline, and with stuff like that, it's not too hard to see why. That was a terrible pitch to swing at. Yes, I know protect the play with 2 strikes, but there's protecting the play and then there's swinging at terrible pitches, and I think you know which one that was. Alberto Rincon also swings at a pitch below the zone here, and the tapper right in front of him will not get the hit. So we go down as quietly as the Folk did, or the Norfolk Tide, I should say. A fly out here to start the second. Brings up Dylan Beavers, who's going to get this one through the gap. That pitch was not well located there by Esteban Acevedo, so a double here by Beavers. Puts the first man in scoring position of this ball game. His 8th double of the year. Luis Matos swinging at that nasty slider from Acevedo to get out number 2, though. Trying to get out of this inning without allowing a run, and we will do just that as the fastball will be in for strike 3. Both teams have a hit on the board, but neither has brought home a run. Russell Mosqueda is going to hit this one a ton. Deep back in center field. It's going to be up against the wall, so extra bases to lead off the second. Both teams got themselves a little bit of an extra base hit here in the second. Mosqueda continues to show some nice hitting prowess here in every episode of his first season with us. Jason Gill, he's gonna ground out here over to second, and will bring Mosqueda over to third, though. Sandoval just needed to avoid striking out, and he's going to do more than that. He's going to get himself on base and break the tie here in the bottom of the second. First run scored by us. Nice job by Sandoval, whose season continues to get better and better the deeper we get into it. Ray Beasley also got a nice chunk of this ball, but that one just wasn't quite enough to get a hit. Coming off the bat, I thought it would be a hit for him for sure, but didn't work out that way. Boyer trying to keep the inning alive is going to do just that. Liner over the head of the first baseman will put Sandoval up in scoring position. Victor Benitez is now tasked with extending the inning, but he's going to fly this one out to left. So put up a couple more hits here in the inning, and we scored the first run, leading to this atrocious ball call. The entirety of that baseball was inside the zone. How, that was called for a ball, I truly don't know. But in the end here, Jason Gill's going to have to do a bit of running, but we would get the out. So no harm, no foul on the terrible call. Order flips over for the Norfolk Tide here, and Ray Beasley gets himself underneath that ball. He's had a bit of a workout here to begin this game. Our order will also flip over here, and Carl McIntyre, much like we saw from Alberto Rincon, just taps it right in front of himself, but this time he is safe. That's the difference that speed makes, and Carl McIntyre is certainly one of the fastest guys out there, and that throw wasn't even particularly close. Took him exactly 4 seconds to get to the bag, and yeah, he easily beat it here, and this time he's going for second. First was not enough for him, and he is in safely. So, and in scoring position, no outs. And this time he's going for third. This one was a lot closer, but he's still safe. First to third here on these 2 pitches. And unfortunately, they've both been strikes for Alden Evans here. But now all he needs is a little bit of contact, and he brings home a run. Instead, he's going to go down on 3 pitches. Watched all 3. Wasn't exactly his fault, as he was letting some pitches go by him so that Carl McIntyre could steal, but still not the best at-bat for him. And Roberto Rincon, very next at-bat, hits it deep enough to be an easy tag for McIntyre, able to jog right across home plate, so we'll extend our lead. Russell Mosqueda got himself extra base hit this first time around, but this time, full count pitch, he goes down swinging. Acevedo back out for us. Steven Ruiz hit that one well. Ray Beasley continues his decent run of exercise here to start this game. Tracks that ball down. And that's a beautiful changeup, painting that lower left corner to end the 4th. Allowed that just that 1 hit in the 2nd inning so far. And 2 hitless innings since. Jason Gill may not like that call, but it was certainly a good call on that strikeout. Kevin Sandoval brought home a run, his last AB, and this time he's getting on base again. Hit it quite well, but he will have to settle for a single here. Bottom of the 4th. But a multi-hit game from Kevin Sandoval. Like I said, his season continues to get better the deeper we get into it, but Ray Beasley's going to end the inning here on the double play. 2nd time that's happened to us. It seems like we do not do a good job of avoiding the double play here on this team. Dylan Beavers, he's the only guy to get a hit for the side so far in this game, but that at-bat was a different story. He just watched 3 straight strikes go right by him. Didn't find anything he liked, I suppose. And Esteban Acevedo would get through the inning cleanly. Boyer gets a nice chunk of this ball. It is back fairly deep, but maybe had a little bit too much airtime on it, as he'll be called out. McIntyre 2 for 2 so far. Had a very hittable pitch there, but he didn't time it up right, and he's going to be called out there as it's caught in foul territory. Esteban Acevedo, that pitch goes right up to him. He's able to turn around, locate it, and get it in time for the out, though. Nice play by him. And then that's an ugly swing but there by Molina. So now 4 consecutive hitless innings, not just scoreless, hitless innings. He also hasn't allowed a single walk. And speaking of walks, that's exactly what Alden Evans is going to do here to lead off the bottom of the 6th. Going against Steven Gutierrez, I haven't talked about him yet. He's been in here the last couple of innings. I definitely remember his name from previous draft classes. Rincon's going to get called out. Got some decent contact there, but not good enough. Mosqueda is also going to strike out. So we had an extra base hit, but it's followed up with 2 strikeouts here. I definitely remember Steven Gutierrez being very high on our draft board the year he came out. Don't know if it was 1 year ago, 2 years ago, or what. Like I said, these draft classes are starting to kind of blend together here, but the no-hit streak from Acevedo would eventually be broken here in the 7th, as with 1 out, he allows that hit. Should have struck Casey out there, but he wouldn't have to wait much longer to do it anyway, as 1 borderline pitch definitely didn't go his way. That should have been called a strike in my opinion, but he'll get it in the end, so no harm, no foul here from the ump. And Casey definitely thought he had himself a walk there. And Carl McIntyre misses this ball, and that's probably going to cost us a run here. That was going to be a double. Maybe would have scored the run regardless. We'll never know. Carl McIntyre has a pretty decent arm, but it's going to spell the end of the day for Esteban Acevedo, as that would be turned into a triple. It definitely would have been a double had Carl McIntyre been able to glove it cleanly. We'd bring in Juan Moreno to end the 7th for us, which he would do without much trouble, but this game started to ring kind of like pretty much every other game we've played this season, it feels like, where we have some good early game offense, then we just stall out, and the other team comes back. So hopefully that double by Boyer could maybe extend our lead a little bit more here, because I'm getting real tired of this, good early offense and then being total schmucks for the rest of the game. But that's kind of looking like what might be the case here. Top of the 8th, Juan Moreno would remain in the game. He's going to allow a hit here to Eli White with 1 out. That single there would spell the end of the day for him, and that's going to bring in Ezra Rodriguez with a nasty slurve for the strikeout there. Of all of our reliever guys, I got to say, I think I like Ezra Rodriguez's game the most. He just seems to have some pretty nasty pitches, and if I were really worried about it, I'd probably put him as our closer over Bartolo Ordonez, but while we're in the minors, I'm not particularly worried about it. That's a bad throw from first base, and that's going to get Alden Evans hit here. That probably should have been out, just with a more accurate throw to the pitcher there to cover the bag there. But once again, stop me if you've heard this before. We're stranding runners late. I haven't scored since the 3rd inning. What is up with this team, man? Why can't we just have consistent offense throughout a baseball game? And things definitely aren't looking good, as we'll start the top of the 9th with an error. It was a great diving play first, but then the throw was offline. Wouldn't come back to bite us, though, here, as the double play would ensue here with Steven Ruiz. Not the best late game performance from him. His bad throw probably allowed that Alden Evans hit. Didn't come back to bite him, but then grounded into a double play the very next half inning. Owen Casey, though, would end the game for us. This time, the pitching would hold up. Our offense still choked. We had no run after the 3rd inning. I'm getting real tired of this offense just sucking for half or more of the game. Like, can we please continue offense just through the entirety of the game? I think MLB the Show 23 has a lot of pros, but one con is just minor league offense just isn't as good as it should be, honestly. These sliders, I've tested them at the MLB level and they're really good. It's just the game has a low scoring minor league problem. And so we would end up winning that game 2-1. We're going to now talk about draft prospects here. Looking forward to where we would end up here 1 week with the draft. Until the draft, excuse me. We would win a lot of games over the next couple of weeks. Ever since we lost 1-2 to Jacksonville on the 5th, we've only lost 2 games for the rest of the month. And now we've got ourselves a 3-game lead in the division. This was a huge month. We've been kind of, maybe underperforming a lot this year. But this month, things are really turning around and we're playing how I would hope. But next episode is the draft, and now it's time to start to talk about some of my favorite prospects in this class. And this is a very pitcher-heavy class at the top. Let's go ahead and go through them, how our scouts see them. They see Richie Gary as the best pitcher in this class. I don't know if I would agree that he's, the best, but I do think he's quite good. Nice pitch mix, has some good stamina numbers. He's a lefty. No really apparent weaknesses. I think he would definitely be in play for us at pick 4, which is where we pick in this draft. Another guy that I'm definitely considering at pick 4 is Oswaldo Vasquez. Throws some nice gas there with that velocity already in the Blues. His per 9 and strikeouts per 9 are pretty good too. He also has a nice 5-pitch mix. Fastball, sinker, changeup, sweeping curve, slider. I like that mix a lot. But somebody I probably like more than either of those guys that we've talked about so far would be Orlando Pacheco. He is somebody that our scouts discovered in this class, so maybe we could get him in the second round. But I also think he'd be worth a pick at 4. Of all the 5 pitch mixes we've seen so far, this is probably my favorite one. Really good break. Stamina's not quite where I would like it to be, but he's got good walks per 9. And he has the pitch mix to take advantage of his good break rating. Tate Castilla is somebody that I would probably be more looking for in the second round, but I think he'd be a really good second round pick. Stamina, velocity, break, control. Those are like the big 4 of ratings that don't really improve all that much in this game, and he's got them all in good places. He also has a 5 pitch mix. 2 of them are fastballs though, so he doesn't have a true 5 pitch mix in my eyes, but I think he'd be a really good second round pick. Now, my favorite guy in this class is Edgar Torres. He has a very high overall range, which goes all the way up to 78. Don't imagine it's going to be that high, but he's got a really good chance to end up in the 70s overall. He only has 4 pitches, and 2 of them are fastballs, though. That's really his downside, is his pitch mix, because his ratings, stamina, really good, walks per 9, excellent, velocity's decent, break's going to be pretty good, control not great though. But that's kind of it in terms of first round prospects. Now going to more second round guys. Roosevelt Meadows, he is injured. He's got good stamina, throws for some gas. Ryan Brooks, more of a long-term project kind of guy. That overall range, not exactly where you want it. Jeffrey Townsend, we'll talk about in just a minute. Diego De Jesus, though, he was a guy who was probably my favorite pitcher in the class. Until I found out he was injured. He has a 4 pitch mix. That combination of velocity, walks per 9, and stamina, combined with the pretty good overall range, made him somebody that I really, really liked. But then he got injured and it kind of messed with his ratings. Townsend I don't really love because his stamina is terrible. That's not a starting pitcher. That's a long reliever. I like his ratings decent bit, apart from his stamina, but his stamina is so bad that it kind of just puts him down the board for me. In terms of guys you could consider at 4 that aren't pitchers, it's really just Richard Tompkins, and he just doesn't really have the skill set that I'm looking for right now. I just feel like his skill set is redundant with what we already have. So I'm pretty clear on pitcher at 4. I think for other teams, Tompkins is a very worthy first round pick, and I think he's probably the best position player in this draft. Definitely of the ones I've scouted, but maybe there's somebody that I didn't scout. In terms of kind of middle infield, a position that we're still definitely looking for, was very underwhelmed with this class. A guy that we could take a late flyer on, though, and will be ranked 105, is Julio Benitez. Definitely a long-term project, but guaranteed a potential. I definitely like that. Philip Jung, I discovered him just because I was looking for power. Power is definitely a big-time need for us in this class, and Philip Jung, another guy, maybe more of a long-term project, but plays catcher. We definitely want to be having 2 catchers on our roster for the long term, and he could play DH, a little bit of backup catcher, a la Alex Angeles for our other franchise. He's not as good as Alex Angeles, for sure, but yeah, just second base, shortstop. I was not impressed with the class here. There wasn't guys who really fit the skill sets or the potential to overall gap that I always am looking for in these classes. Another guy who could maybe supply power in like the 3rd round could be Juan Ortiz. I'm gonna scout him. Definitely not gonna draft him for his upside. His potential is worse than his overall, but he could be a good switch hitter with power. I'm gonna kind of scour some maybe other unscouted guys who could have power for us, but that's pretty much this draft. It's very, very pitcher heavy at the top, but we'll see what happens in the draft in the next episode, which will be coming out soon, and I will see you then.